Overwatch is an incredibly fast-paced game that demands precision without mistakes. Today, we will talk about a concept that will apply to all others to help you make less mistakes in Overwatch and win more games. Let's get right into it. 2 weeks ago, we went over some basic mechanics that will be important to brush up on before competing in Overwatch 2 in a video, but that doesn't encompass all of the situations that Overwatch has to offer. Aim and movement are very much micro things to improve in the game, meaning they are much more about things that you can do yourself that make you a better player in the game individually. That video didn't touch up on the most important things to do in the macro though. The macro encompasses the big picture of the game, like understanding compositions, how they interact against each other, and how teams should play to best suit their playstyle. Typically, content on YouTube is made to help the micro side of Overwatch, as it is more plausible to make videos that way. There are simple concepts that fit reasonably within a 8 to 15 minute video. The macro side of things is quite the opposite though. There are so many things you just have to learn that one video for each concept just isn't a good idea. But what if that wasn't the case and there's one concept that can help you understand every macro situation in Overwatch? By understanding the concept of tempo, one could, in theory, derive an answer to every situation Overwatch throws at them given ample time. But in order to show you how this is possible, I have to first explain what tempo is. Tempo, in short, is how fast a team composition wants to play in order to best suit their character's strengths. This is a very simple way to put it, but it gets the point across. For example, let's take Reinhardt versus Orisa. Generally, Reinhardt wants to play close and close the distance on the enemy, meaning he wants to take fast engagements on that enemy. This is why Lucio is really good with Reinhardt, because it plays directly with his intrinsic preferred tempo. Orisa, on the other hand, generally wants to play slower and spam out the enemy before they get the opportunity to either close the distance or surround them. Thus, they want to play much slower and create high damage opportunities as well as prolong the fight. See the differences here? I want to highlight that this is highly generalized for the sake of simplicity, but it should still make sense. Note that just because one character wants to play fast doesn't mean that they are going to play fast in every composition, but it is still a contributing factor. This is where things can start to get complicated though. For example, Ryan with a Reaper and Doomfist is going to play insanely fast, whereas Ryan with a Cassidy and Mei are going to play a lot slower but still on the faster end of the tempo spectrum. In other words, tempo is derived from each character's preferred tempo on the team, not just one. This is especially important to understand when you're playing ranked. If I'm a Reinhardt player, I can play very aggressively with a Reaper and a Lucio, but I also have to understand that this just isn't going to happen in every game, because sometimes I might have to play with a Hanzo and a Widow on my team, forcing me to play slower and maybe even switching characters accordingly. To keep the video flowing, I've put a tier list on the screen to explain the general tempo of characters to get a feel for what I am talking about. Keep in mind that any character can be played at any speed and any composition, and that it is the culmination of the characters that make a difference. So now that we understand how basic tempo works, why is it so important to understand? Well, because it tells you how to react in literally every situation Overwatch has to offer. Let's take positioning for example. A huge problem many Overwatch players have, especially those at lower ranks, is that they tend to think of positioning as a very static sort of concept. When I was in Plat, I used to watch Gale's stream and copy where he started in every single fight, never moving. But that just doesn't work. If I know that the enemy is playing a slower composition and that my team is running a faster composition, I simply cannot play far back on Ana all of the time. My team will want to close the distance, likely pathing out of my line of sight if I'm too far back. Thus, I want to play closer to my team, ready to engage. On the flip side, if the enemy is running a faster, more brawly composition than my own, maybe I don't want to play super close to my team, as it is likely that I will get run over alongside my team. I would want to prolong the fight and look for multiple anti-nades instead of making it harder on myself and my team. The same goes against Dive, where I am safer next to my team instead of alone in the backline. Overwatch is situational, and understanding a concept like this allows for understanding of even the most complex situations. I do want to make sure that I bring up a point that some compositions will not adhere to one side of the spectrum. Sometimes compositions will be a mix of both types of speeds. Let's take a rather uncommon composition called Fire and Ice, including Orisa, Diva, Mei, Torb, Baptiste, and Lucio. Let's refer to that tier list again that we made earlier. Take a moment and pause the video if you need to, but ask yourself how fast this composition should play. Either fast, slow, or should it be a mix of the two? This composition is played best if you play slow at the start and fast at the end. For example, the team wants to spam the enemy, so by by the time a brawl has to be taken in close corridors, it's very easy to win. This is contrary to Doom Reaper compositions and double shield spam compositions that strongly adhere to polar opposite sides of the tempo spectrum. Before we do close out the video though, there are a few things that can influence tempo besides just characters, and those abilities are ultimates. For example, if the enemy has EMP and you do not have any ultimates to answer it, like an EMP of your own or Transcendence, a fast fight will likely have to be taken no matter what composition speed you're on. I like to think of ultimates as catalysts for speeds in Overwatch. Ultimates are incoming threats that need to be stopped or else the fight win is in jeopardy. So just because you are playing a slow composition doesn't always mean there's never going to be an opportunity for you to play fast every now and then when the door is open. Not every composition is going to be perfect in ladder, and with the inception of Overwatch 2, the game is going to change as we know it, but the concept of tempo will remain constant. Understanding tempo will help you craft compositions and position yourself correctly within every single game of Overwatch, given some careful deliberation beforehand, even when your team might be playing those weird characters. This is just a basic rundown of the concept, so if you do have questions, please let me know in the comments down below. This concept is difficult to understand, but if you can apply it, it will definitely do wonders for your gameplay. Thank you so much for watching, but until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.